Hey everyone, I'm Ms.Murray and welcome to Wondering Wednesday. Today's segment is going to be So You Want to Be a ... where we interview someone that is in a really interesting career. So when people ask you what you want to be when you grow up, you might have some ideas because of the awesome people we talk to right here. So today we're going to be talking to a professional sewist. They also own their own clothing business. So let's get on with that interview. Hey everybody, welcome to Wondering Wednesday. I am joined here today by Trixie, who is a professional sewist. They also own their own business. So I look forward to talking to you about all that today. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me here today.
Of course, thank you so much for being here. So let's go ahead and jump right into these questions. So what inspired you to become a professional sewist?
So my mom, I remember my mom sewing a lot growing up. She made quilts and she also would sew, my sister and I were baton twirlers and she would sew some of our outfits for us. So I really learned how to sew when I was around 12, 13 years old. So I've been sewing for a long time and I kind of sewed on and off. And then I have a friend that I met a few years ago and she sewed clothes for her kids. And that really inspired me to start sewing more for my kids and my family. And as those skills grew, people asked me to make clothes for them. So I was definitely inspired by both my mom and my friend.
Okay, very cool. What's your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part of the job is seeing people's reactions when they actually try on clothes that fit them. Because I make them custom fit to their measurements. So the pieces that they get are made just for them. And hearing their reactions to finally having clothes that actually fit them properly is it's amazing for me. That's why I do what I do. Hearing them tell me that their confidence in themselves has gone up because of the clothes that I make them feel amazing that's amazing for me. That's my favorite part of the job.
That's probably a really good feeling because not only are you're making other people feel good, and then in turn they're making you feel really, really good. I don't even know what it's like to have clothes that fit me. That must be really cool. So what's your least favorite part? Because there's always a least favorite part.
So the least favorite part of the sewing is printing off and putting together and cutting out all the patterns. That is really annoying. There's a new thing that's coming out right now is projector files for patterns. So you can get a projector and project the pattern file right onto fabric. So I'm saving up money to be able to buy a projector because if I could save time not having to cut out patterns and put them together and all that, that would be great because that is my least favorite part and it takes the most time. My least favorite part of the business side of things is doing the taxes every year. That's a lot of work and it's not fun at all, but it's a necessary part of owning a business. So
yeah, that projection thing sounds really cool. I remember my mom cutting out patterns and then putting them and pinning them. So that probably will be super cool way to improve that process.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time and a lot of paper too.
Thinking about it, that is true. I wonder what happened to and then the paper's so flimsy that usually sometimes it's hard to keep them for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm remembering pattern paper correctly.
Yeah, there's two different types of patterns. There's those style, and then there's PDF files, so you can get PDF patterns and print it out on your own printer paper. So it takes up a lot of paper and a lot of ink, and not having to deal with that would be nice.
I'm just projecting it right on there. That's cool. You've blown my mind. So what kind of training do you need to do the job that you do?
So you definitely have to know how to sew, which anybody can learn how to sew. I have 5 kids and they all know how to sew to some degree. You don't really need a special degree or anything like that unless you really want to get into like the high-end fashion kind of stuff, then a degree is helpful. But to do what I do, where I'm just have a sewing business out of my home, it's really just making sure you know how to sew well. And then the business side of things is making sure you know all the businessy type things that you have to do, which there's a lot of YouTube and Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff out there that can help you with that.
Okay, see, that's always good to know because a couple of interviews ago, I had someone that works on the costuming part of the business, and
Hmm.
she does a lot of with patterns and stuff like that. And to get into her position, she did need to get some type of fashion degree. So it's cool to see the different sort of layers of what you can do when you have a sewing machine and you have a passion and what you can do with it. That's super cool. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of all you creative types. Um, so, what advice do you have for any aspiring sewists out there?
Um, just watch YouTube videos. There's so many sewing YouTube videos out there. There's a lot of blogs out there that have to do with sewing that give you all sorts of little tips and tricks. If you're nervous about using a sewing machine, the best advice I can give is to just do it. And if you're really nervous about it, they do make these things. They're needle guards, so they will protect your fingers from going underneath the needle, which is what a lot of people are afraid of, is that their fingers are going to get caught under the needle when you're sewing. So if that's something that's holding you back from learning how to sew, you can get those like on Amazon. They're just little needle guards for the machines. And anybody can learn to sew. Hand sewing, machine sewing, anyone can learn to sew. It can be intimidating, but I know you can do it.
That's a good advice for me as well, because I'd love to learn how to sew. But you just brought back flashbacks of middle school home ec class of the boys that thought it would be cool to put their fingers under the needles and had to go straight to the nurse's office.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yep.
I like that. I like that just do it. That just do it mentality. Just try it if you want to do it.
And there's also, in terms of getting a machine, there are machines on like Amazon that are meant for kids, but I always recommend looking in like Craigslist or, any sort of used goods thing, because you can find a lot of good vintage machines, which are oftentimes a lot better for sewing than the modern machines are. And you can get them usually for a lot cheaper than a modern machine as well.
That's good to know. And I mean, and most supplies are easy to find too, right? At just craft stores and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a question from me. What do you think is the hardest type of fabric to work with? Is there any?
I personally don't like working with athletic type material, like the really like kind of shiny, silky, sheeny stuff that you see on like the typical athletic wear. I don't like working with that because it's so hard to get it to go through the machine right, and a lot of times you need to use like tissue paper on top of it so that the machine will actually grip it correctly, and I don't like working with it. I do, but I don't like it.
Well, what's your favorite type of fabric, just so to work with then?
My favorite type of fabric is bamboo French terry. Cotton French terry is like a sweatshirt type material. And bamboo French terry is the same thing, but it's made with bamboo instead of cotton. So it's really soft and it's flowy, and it still has a little bit of structure to it, and it's warm, but it's also cool. So it's like, I think it's like the perfect fabric. A lot of people like bamboo French terry.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Cool. Okay, so now for the fun stuff, even though I feel like we already did the fun stuff, but now some extra fun with a lightning round. Are you ready for some questions?
I'm ready.
Okay, if you could visit any place in the world, where would it be?
New Zealand.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Probably flying.
Favorite superhero?
Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls.
That's a good one. Favorite movie?
The Back to the Future trilogy.
That's a good one. Favorite song?
Anything by Florence and the Machine.
You're the second person to say Florence and the Machine that I've talked to. It's very cool.
I love her.
Favorite cartoon character?
I think I'm gonna have to go with Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls again, honestly. I think she's awesome.
It's so long since I watched Powerpuff Girls. I need to jump on that wagon again. Favorite animal?
Sea turtle. They've always been my favorite animal. I actually have I have 2 sea turtles tattooed on me, so.
I have a student that's obsessed with sea turtles. Well, she's not my student anymore. She's 2 grades older now. Sea turtles every day, all day. I think she wants to be a marine biologist when she's older.
Nice.
So that's awesome. Favorite food?
Chocolate, hands down. Have to go with chocolate.
Favorite drink?
It's really boring, but water. Like water is all I drink.
Water is good for you, so that's the perfect drink. And finally, favorite emoji?
I use the purple heart emoji a lot, but if you're talking actual like face emoji, I like the the kind of face palm one. I use that a lot.
That's a good one. I always go with shrug. That's always my
The
go-to.
shrug is a good one too.
Yeah, I usually use purple and gold hearts because those are our school colors.
Mm-hmm.
So they always go well together. Okay, so those are all of my questions, but I do have one final one, and that is there anything you just would like to say? Anything you want to get off your chest to everybody about life or whatever to finish off?
Follow your passions. Do what you love. And we tell our kids all the time that even kids can start their own businesses and follow their passions. So do what you love. Don't get stuck doing something you hate. Do something you love if you can.
That is very good advice. Okay, thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it, and see you tomorrow for Tips and Tricks Thursday. Bye.